you drive, someone is watching. Not just the police, not just for a crime. ALPR cameras are quietly recording your license plate. When you go to church, visit a medical clinic, stop at the liquor store, or even go to your local marijuana dispensary. Your habits, your beliefs, even your health choices, all tracked, logged, and saved. And you never even gave permission. And if that's not something that worries you because of the nefarious ways this can be used, here's what happened recently in Texas. A woman was tracked because her family was concerned that she had gone out of state to get an abortion because it's not legal, almost completely illegal in Texas. And they tracked her license plate. Now, this was supposedly her family doing this because they, were concerned about her. But you can see how this could be used for nefarious reasons. Like in the future, think The Handmaid's Tale. When a woman is doing certain things, maybe they tracked her maybe they tracked her and found out she was buying birth control or going to Planned Parenthood or something like that. That's not good. That's not something that we want them to do. Now, you may be saying, well, what the hell is ALPR? Well, it's cameras tracking vehicles. They've been doing it for at least a couple of decades. They use ALPR cameras capture images of license plate. They're tracked by law enforcement. Sometimes police use them to find stolen vehicles or to find criminals, all great things, or maybe a runaway child. Great. It's a great resource. Anything that's a great resource can also be used in the wrong way, right? They use it for parking enforcement, toll collections. Has anybody gotten the fake tolls that you owe a toll and you're in trouble? Like, I haven't driven through any toll areas and I get them via text, but they are necessary for toll booth type activities. Traffic monitoring, they keep up with traffic flow and patterns on roads and all that's good stuff. Cameras take pictures of license plates. Plate recognition software reads and records the plate numbers. Then they have a database comparison. It matches plates against databases of wanted vehicles or unpaid tolls. All, again, great stuff. Alerts authorities if a wanted vehicle is spotted in real time. Again, they're all great things. But rights infringement concerns, privacy, constant surveillance and tracking of vehicles, data security, risk of unauthorized access to stored plate data. There's been instances where people in law enforcement or other people who had ways to get this information could use it to track people. I think my wife's having an affair. Can you track her? Things that could cause danger and privacy issues for the person who's being tracked. Again, misuse, potential for misuse by authorities or data breaches. Again, a data breach. A data breach could totally put all your, you always, we worry about, we're being tracked by our phone. And if you watch true crime, you can see where in that Idaho 4 case where the 4 students were murdered in their home by, we don't know who yet, but they've accused Brian Koberger of this. And in the Brian Koberger case, they said they found Brian Koberger as a suspect because they tracked his vehicle. But they've never shown us, and we're just the public out here, but did they not get photographs of his license plate? Because that would prove that his car was there. Otherwise, we're not sure. They're tracking him, we know, by his phone. But I live in one state, and oftentimes my computer picks up that I'm in a whole nother state and starts giving me, like if I'm shopping or something, and starts giving me the wrong locations. And I'm like, well, how can you track somebody to a crime when something like that can occur? So there's a lot of potential for misuse by authorities and, the data breaches. Location tracking reveals movement patterns and habits of individuals. That's something else. Again, back to Brian Koberger in the true crime case, is that he says that he was out that night that this occurred in the middle of the night, stargazing. Well, if he stargazes all the time, that should show up on his tracking, that he goes out in the middle of the night all the time and he's in these certain areas. So these things can be used, like I said, for good or bad. I don't really want the idea that I'm being tracked by my phone or my license plate, because again, that license plate could be somebody else driving your vehicle. The civil liberties raises questions about the right to privacy and freedom of movement. The ACLU has come out and warned against this. I think moving into, this Project 2025 that apparently the Trump administration is moving us into, and it's taking us backwards in a way, but we've got all this technology to track everybody. So if they started saying, well, you can't leave the state, I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen. They could say, you can't leave the state, you can't leave your city. And if you do, we can track you by your license plate. So if you want more information about this, let me know in the comments and I'll give you everything you need to know, or just, go with this, because there's a lot out there. There's a lot of times that it was misused. It's being misused now, maybe by these people that are claiming that you owe. I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's just scammers. But this data could be sold by the companies that run it, that actually have the cameras, and it could be sold to people to use it in the wrong way. They track people's social media, and so therefore, if a company, like, you've got to know, if you get a background check, they can use this. If you have a company which you have to have a background check, they could use this. If you have any kind of job that requires that, or if you're, like, I met President Clinton one time and they did a full background check on me because I was going to photograph the event. And I guess all the other people had to have it too, but I was getting up close and personal with President Clinton. He was former president at that point, and they still, they did a background check on me. And so there are times, like, I had a job in the early 80s working for a bank, and they did a FBI background check on me. So there's times when they've done these background checks, and now they could do it using these card readers as well, or not card readers, but license plate readers as well. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments if you've ever had anything happen to you using these cameras.